Welcome to this series on stroke recovery. I am a doctor, and in 2016, I had one of the deadliest types of strokes. I had a basilar artery occlusion with locked-in syndrome. This is a fancy way of saying that I looked dead on the outside, but I was very much alive and thinking on the inside. I could have live streamed this stroke for the whole world, and being a doctor, it would have been medically accurate. And a few years ago, while doing some research for a book that I was writing, I discovered that the odds of my surviving this stroke and all the complications that I uniquely had before, during, and after the stroke was only 4 out of 10 billion. That's billion with a B. And I know for sure that the universe came together to save me from this near fatal stroke, including the medical team that I had, the unconditional support of family and friends, my work team as well, who saved my job, and the prayers of people around the world who knew me or my family. And I'm talking whole congregations of people of different faiths praying for me specifically by name. But there was a tiny part of me that asked, since I was a doctor, had I done things differently to recover from this stroke that helped me beat the odds? And it turned out I did a lot of things differently because, truth be told, I really wanted to return to my whole life, my family life, but also my professional one. And so I was in doctor mode for most of this time. You have to realize that since the age of 5, I have identified as a doctor and I was not ready to give this up. So as a patient, if there was an exercise that I would say to myself, this is too hard, I will just push this off till tomorrow, the doctor in me would say, nope, you got to do it today or you're going to lose it forever, type of thing. And this motivated me to recover from my stroke a little bit differently. And it allowed me to come back to work as a rheumatologist and as a medical educator. However, I really wanted to give back because I know there is no way I can repay the hundreds of people that helped me to get here and the thousands of people that prayed for me to get here. So in 2020, during the pandemic, I wrote a super short book on how I, as a doctor, survived my stroke and recovered from it. And I wrote this mostly through the perspective of a patient, but also there is some doctor things in there. And in 2023, at the very end of it, I started a YouTube channel where I would take complex medical things and try to make them more understandable for everyone. Because being a stroke patient, especially in rehab, I realized we doctors are not too good at this sometimes. And you have to realize that I grew up mostly in the late 80s and the early 90s. So I had to Google my way through almost all of this. Now, please realize that this series is going to be based on my personal journey through stroke recovery as a doctor, but it is not specific or unique to everyone. And it should definitely not take the place of the medical advice from your doctors or from the amazing medical resources out there. I am just going to show you how I, as a doctor, took some of that information and used it a little bit differently to help myself. And hopefully it will help someone somewhere. As the Mission Impossible movies would say, I am doing this for those who I know and for those who I will never meet. Until next time.